This story is particularly concerning to me. It comes out of the Lockport Union Sun and Journal. And I just want to point out it says so district to begin testing Aegis next week. Um, Aegis is a facial recognition system network that's being set up at a public school in a public school district, which immediately sticks me as well. Why do school security administrators need a system to kind of let them know where all of their students are at any given point in time by tracking what who is moving around? Look, there comes a point in a society where you can't take away certain people's rights. Okay, look, what happens if this opens up so many cases of, well, if this system gets hacked, it is such a mess. You could have child predators, you could have foreign governments, you could have all of these people now have access to this network where they can see where every single student are. If someone's like stalking a child, I mean, and they can break into one of these systems. I don't know how well the security is working here. That hasn't really been covered, so it's up in the air. I don't trust school officials, school security to I don't think this. I'm sorry, I don't think schools have dedicated IT teams that can really look at this stuff and kind of say, okay, this is secure. So all of this kind of data, if they build up a database of the pictures of kids, and they have all the photos of all these students stored in their own databases, well, it's very easy for governments, I'm sure, to hack into these systems. I'm sure this isn't like a Fort Knox level security. But it's they have databases of their students, and then it's kind of like, well, this is our society's. This I'm telling you, this is the frontier where we kind of go from first class, first tier economy country where there's a lot of opportunity, where people can kind of really still build themselves up, and everybody's being watched all the time. You better not commit a crime. We're watching you. We know where you are. We know what time it is. We see you walking down the hall. We know how long you've been in the bathroom for. This system where the people's rights are not really there anymore. Look, any amount of freedom by definition, requires a loss in security. And I think some loss in security is warranted for the more free a country could be. The more people need to be able to breathe. People need to be able to make their own decisions. They should not be controlled by dictatorial. This is horrifying to me. And what I believe to be dictatorial levels of security, authoritarian levels of security. They start here and they say, oh, but it's only going to be, this database is only going to have, a couple of kids in it. And so I would question, well, where is the right that these organizations have, like this school district, to implement this kind of policy on children? Even if they weren't children, if they were adults, what happened to the right against unlawful searches, and seizures? I see this as an unlawful search because, you're tracking where I am all the time. I don't know how applicable the Fourth Amendment is here, but I would absolutely point at the Fourth Amendment and say this is a constitutional violation of the Fourth Amendment. Because, as we move on, the founders didn't know what would exist 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 1,000 years after the Constitution. God willing that the nation survives that long. And so they put a Bill of Rights in place to protect the citizens' rights, and they purposefully left them vague. They didn't fill in all the blanks because they wanted the Supreme Court to look at, where the nation was at any given point in time, no matter what happened, what technology developed, what people, what the social, cultural desires were. They needed a body that would be firm and just protect people's rights. while all of that was happening. And so I think that in the 21st century, our fight is against this kind of surveillance because, listen, it is a search. I mean, if I know where you are all the time, I can see, it's stalking. It's like, you know, look, I can see what you're putting in your bag. I know where you are. I know how you're, it's like so much, it's just too much power. That's how I see it. I think it's just too much power. This technology is apparently very good. If you're walking down the street, for example, let's say you have a twin, it can misidentify you as the other twin if your whole face isn't showing. But how it corrects for that is if that ever happens, the second camera, when you're turning the hall and then you make like a right and then another camera's right here and it catches your face, that second camera is going to then run another test to make sure that it matches the first one and it'll actually capture, okay, who this person is. So it can actually even tell the difference between twins, and it has a self-correcting mechanism. So the chances of you being picked up as the wrong person are pretty low. And while they say here that they're only going to take a couple of kids and put them into the system, first off, I question that, but also it's such a slippery slope to go from 20, 50 kids in the system to all 300, 400, 500, however many kids are in your district, all of them go into the system. And then what? Does it become every time a parent wants to come in to pick up a child, a visitor comes in, they get added to the database? And then what happens if that database gets hacked and then all that information goes online and now everybody's data is online? And it's like, this is, we need to stop this. And the school district's reasoning for implementing the system, even though, people were concerned about it, was they came out and they just said, well, there is no legislation, there's no law prohibiting us from doing this. So we're going to do it. That's literally their answer here. We have to protect our rights, our freedoms guaranteed by the Constitution, and point to our government. And listen, maybe we need another amendment to protect the rights of American citizens. And maybe that's a conversation that needs to be had. But let's not give up our right to our own persons, to being able to walk down the street without our governments on our backs, without our administrators at a school, without the security at our school, constantly monitoring where we are. That's just too much power. And imagine what that psychologically does to someone to know that they're constantly being monitored. Imagine living in your house, but there's cameras everywhere. The government's always watching you. And you don't know who it is at the government. You don't know what they're looking for. You don't know, what the policy is. What happens if one of these schools eventually becomes, like one of these leftist universities decides, oh, you can't have free speech. What if you get marked as, oh, this kid's a right-leaning kid? Is he going to be discriminated against? Is he going to be tracked in one of these systems? Or are they going to use it as a way to try to find something that he does wrong so that they can expel him or suspend him or affect his grade? Are they going to use this as a way to say, oh, this person was tardy to class, ding, 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 ding? So are they going to become the kind of controllers of the masters of, human subservience in school? And if that's true, then what does that mean for our children as they grow up? If during their formative years, they live in a system where they're always being monitored, what is that going to do with their psyche as they grow older? They're gonna normalize it. They're gonna feel like it's something that they always have. And it's gonna give them a lot more anxiety. I think it's hard to say for sure because we haven't had this. Quite frankly, this is new technology. It's coming out now, and while we can't stop the widespread adoption everywhere, we certainly can do something at home. I mean, we live in America. This country guarantees citizens certain rights that while the left is trying to take away, we can still fight back. Listen, we have the right to vote. We have the right to protest. Citizens have rights in America that they can use to fight these kinds of systems. So that's all I have on this topic, guys. I'm not going to keep harping this guy down. If you guys like the video, be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon so that you're notified the next time we post a video that goes live. And let me know what your thoughts are about this program. Let me know if you agree with it, if you disagree with it, and why you kind of feel the way that you do. Any kind of engagement that we have here tells YouTube, hey, this is a good video, especially if it happens in the first hour. That's like YouTube's thing. They love it when it happens in the first hour. And so we can kind of get a conversation going. We can kind of, spread the word. If you guys can share this video, that actually does that's actually the best way to help. But you also don't have to. If you just wanted to watch the video, that's totally fine. Do your own thing. And yeah, so everyone have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.